What is a good weakness to mention on a job interview? What is your greatest weakness? Probably that I have no strengths. Why do you want to work here? I'd say my greatest weakness is listening. When I was graduating college, I got interview tips from my dad, who was heavily involved in the hiring process at his company for his department. His advice on this one, which I've used ever since and has gone great, was, the whole, say a weakness that's actually a positive, has been done to death and is such common knowledge that it's no longer a clever trick, and is now seen as avoiding the question. People want to see some self-awareness. Obviously don't bring something absolutely terrible up, but mention a real flaw and most importantly what you've done to address or work with it. For example, the one I tend to use is that I can be forgetful, so I now keep multiple sets of calendars, reminders, notes, etc. to cover as much as possible. I have a hard time saying no. If you are changing industries, your biggest weakness is not knowing the industry yet. If you are younger, say inexperienced, anything to show your willingness to learn and develop. For my current job, I said that I had a hard time sharing my ideas with new groups. I'm terrible at interviews. Actual weakness: taking on jobs by myself. Not taking time to train other people to do them. In the end, I'm usually the guy, and find myself feeling burnt out. Probably could be worded better at an interview. But this could sound like you're a go-getter. It might also encourage your employer to find opportunities for you to train other people to do things you particularly don't like doing. I work in healthcare and always say, not speaking Spanish, and odds are the interviewer is also not fluent in Spanish, so it comes across as not really a weakness. Win-win. Weak against fire and sharp objects. Depends on the position, but I will sometimes say that I have trouble delegating when I know I can perform a task well. I'd rather just do it myself and know that everything will be done correctly. Edit. Thank you for the various precious metals. I realize this advice can backfire. That's why I said sometimes. There is also a way to phrase this that makes you sound better. I hate this interview question. I interview candidates every few months. This is a totally useless question. The field I interview for usually has passionate people. So instead I ask, of all the aspects of doing job, which part of the process do you enjoy the most? Nobody is nervous about this question. Gives me some insight into what they want to be working on, where they think they are strongest, and what would make them happy and productive versus bored. Frame it in terms of something you're looking to improve. Well, at my last performance evaluation I received some constructive criticism regarding X. So since then I've been doing Y and Z to focus on improving in that regard. Honestly though, if an interviewer asks you that ridiculous cliched question, either they have no idea what they're doing and/or don't give a shit, or they aren't looking for an answer but just want to see how you respond to being pushed. I once got a job partly because of my honest answer to this. I need to know why I am doing what I'm doing. I don't like being told to do something without an end game in mind, without knowing the reasoning behind it. When I work, I need something to aim at. Some employers don't like this because they like their employees to be cogs in a machine they control. I don't like those jobs and I don't want them. The place I was applying to was not that kind of workplace, and they liked my answer. Ended up being a great job where my boss valued my input and trusted me to take the reins on the variety of tasks. Edit. Wow. Thanks for the gold and silver. Rip my inbox. Being vague. Can you elaborate? Quote. Yeah. Edit. Wow. Was having a not-so-cool day but got here to see I got my first gold. Thanks, stranger. Now to figure out what it does. Figure out a skill that's not required for the job you are applying for, but is required for the job 2 promotions above that job. Then say it's your big weakness but that also you are looking to learn and develop that skill from people who are strong at it. And #X2OOB. Alternatively, if you're far enough along in your career that you have had several promotions and have reports people to delegate to, you can say you were never as good as other people at skill someone below your job level must do. But that's why you've learned to delegate it. Terrible handwriting is my biggest weakness. How so? Quote, "You'll never know what I wrote down. It looks like a blind man wrote. Edit. And thank you everyone who wished me a happy cake day. I keep replying and whatnot but I'm about to go to work. So here is one big thank you. Also thanks for making it feel like I'm not alone on the bad handwriting thing. I've always been embarrassed about it but I appreciate you all with horrid handwriting. I don't feel so alone." I interviewed a girl once and she said, honestly, "Cake. I can never say no to it." And #X2OOB. She was so genuine and the answer struck us all as honestly hilarious. We hate those corporate interview questions too. It was more about finding someone who could answer questions like a real person and had some sort of personality show through. It's amazing how many people just couldn't answer certain questions, as though they were so nervous to get it wrong they froze up. And #X2OOB. In another interview, my boss asked a candidate, "Tell me about a time you screwed up at work." She thought for a while and said, "Gosh, I'm sorry. There are certainly times, but there's nothing major that comes to mind at the moment. I'll think on it while we do other questions." That's what we wanted as interviewers, not a perfect answer, just people that seemed comfortable and normal. Lol. I was asked this during an interview with Uber and I was completely caught off guard. I ended up fumbling and saying something along the lines of, "I cannot ride a unicycle," for which I immediately regretted. My biggest weakness is that sometimes in interviews, I have absolutely no idea how to answer some of the questions. *Edit. Thanks for popping my gold cherry, stranger.